Tonight, it is Zack Wheeler versus Shota Imanaga. That game is going to be getting started. I believe it's a 6:20 start. Nope, it's another 8:05 start. That's right, because all these games are late in Chicago. And with that, we get a matchup of two of the best pitchers in the game right now. It's also two, of course, the best across the NL. But what I love about this, it's veteran Zack Wheeler versus the youngster in Shota Imanaga. You look at the numbers. Zack Wheeler, 34 years old, and the only reason I bring up the age is because it's Shota Imanaga, who's very young at 30, but also a rookie. So you've got a 34-year-old Zack Wheeler, 9-1 on the season, who's been fantastic in this stretch of the season. We talked about it. The only blemishes for a number of the Phillies statistically came in those opening series. We didn't see him lose his first 3 decisions this season. Since then, he's been 9-1 on the year. He's also one of the front runners for the NL Cy Young Award, and he has been fantastic. We saw him get that no decision against the Marlins Thursday, giving up 2 runs, 7 hits over 6 2/3 innings in that 7-4 loss, unfortunately. Going up against Shota Imanaga, some of his numbers. Imanaga is 7-2 with a 3.07 ERA. And he's also definitely a front runner for NL Rookie of the Year. And at a 1.89 ERA through 13 starts for the Cubs, he then had a dip. He then was rattled a little bit, gave up 10 and 11 hits in some games, 3 home runs, which has dropped his ERA on the season. And he had a tough stretch against the Mets as well in June. But then since on this past Thursday, in his last game that he started, he had a no decision against the Giants where he allowed 3 runs, 5 hits over 6 innings, and a 5-3 win in extra innings for the Cubs. So Shota, and I know in the chat you guys are trying to figure out his name. I always thought it was Shota. I could be wrong, but I always heard them say Shota Imanaga, not Shote, like Shohei. But he is looking fantastic for the Cubs right now, and this is going to be a really great pitcher's duel. It should be on paper, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I think when you look at Imanaga's numbers, right, and you see a 3.07 ERA on the surface, that's brilliant enough, especially for a guy in his rookie season. And I know you mentioned, he's pitched professionally for a long time in Japan, but his rookie season across Major League Baseball, that's brilliant enough. But if you removed, realistically, it's 2 bad starts, right? He gave up 7 earned runs in 4 1/3 against Milwaukee back in late May. And his not last start, but the start prior, he gave up 10 earned runs against the Mets in just 3 innings, where he gave up 11 hits, just wasn't very sharp, gave up 3 home runs. He's given up 29 earned runs this season over the course of 15 starts, I believe he's made this year so far. He's given up 29 earned runs over 15 starts. You remove those 2 starts, he's given up 12 earned runs over 13 starts. Imanaga has been really, really good this year. And it's funny, too, because I know he's only been in the league for 2 years or for a year, 15 starts. But I think he's so easy to understand, but he's horribly difficult to predict. And what I mean by that is he throws 2 pitches. I mean, I know he has like a 75 pitch arsenal, right? He can throw like 7 different pitches. But he throws his fastball and his splitter, I believe, almost 88% of the time. In his last start against the Giants, he got 22 generated outcomes on fastballs and 17 on the splitter. So 39 of his 46 generated outcomes, and what I mean by that is either a ball put in play in some capacity, a base hit, an out, an extra base hit, whatever the case may be. 39 of his 46 outcomes were generated on the fastball and the splitter. He throws the fastball up in the zone despite not throwing very hard. He throws the splitter down in the zone. And with the splitter, I think that's probably his best pitch. I know the fastball has a ridiculous run value because it's been so good this year. I think if we're going to pick one of the 2 pitches, the splitter worries me more for this Phillies team than the fastball does. But he gets a ton of guys to chase outside of the zone. I think he leads the league in swing percentage outside of the zone at almost 39%. His chase rate is through the roof on his metrics. And then he doesn't walk guys, right? He's got a 4% walk rate throughout the course of this season. Like, when you look at all of those things put together for Shota Imanaga, you think surface level, it's pretty straightforward. There's not a lot of mystery to it. It's fastball splitter overlay, doesn't throw particularly hard, but is willing to challenge you up in the zone, throws the splitter out of the zone, gets a lot of guys to chase because of that downward action on the splitter. The outside of the zone chase rate is like through the roof. But you look at that and it seems predictable, and it's entirely not. Mm-hmm. He has a really good downward arm action. He gets insane run on his fastball. I know he's only thrown it about 91, 92, but he gets insane run on it. And of course, anybody with a pause in their delivery, like Imanaga's got, like Nestor Cortez does now his is a little bit goofier. Imanaga's is consistent. But like Johnny Cueto used to do towards the end of his career, when guys don't throw particularly hard, you need something like that to counteract. Imanaga's got that little stutter right at the top of his, and when he brings the leg up right at the top of his delivery, he's got that little stutter that really throws off timing. And so you look at like the metrics and all the things that Imanaga provides, it should be a straightforward plate appearance. It's anything but. The guy's been tremendous this year.
Yeah, he absolutely has been, and it is wild to call him a rookie at 30 years old, but as we know, it is his major league debut. He's been a great addition for them, and honestly, when you look at, as you mentioned, those 2 starts are the only blemish that really had his ERA drop to a 3.07, because as we saw, talked about, a 1.89, I believe was the number. If I go back to it, ERA for a 1.89 ERA for Imanaga through the other 13 games. So through 13 of his 15 starts, he's got a 1.89 ERA. Those 2 games were a huge blemish for him. But sure. Imanaga does have a his total whip is a 1.11 whip, 1.11. He's got 84 strikeouts, and he has now that 3.07 ERA. But you cannot look at that without the full picture of knowing this is a really good pitcher that the Phillies are going up against today. And they absolutely have to be, as you guys are mentioning in the chat, disciplined. And as you're talking through Tyler, because he is tough to hit and has been tough to hit this entire season. On the other side for Zack Wheeler, he's 1-2 against the Cubs with a 4.59 ERA in his 6 career starts against them. I'm interested just to see how, with the Cubs struggling a little bit right now, they are in a bit of a rough patch. I forget the exact number, but in the last 10 games, I think they've dropped 7 of them or something like that. They have been on a skid a little bit. And so hopefully it's a great chance for Zack Wheeler to really have a nice showing. We've seen all the starting pitchers at one point have a dip and just get rattled a little bit. And I'm hoping that today is more of that pitching matchup that we expect versus one guy coming out and laying an egg, unless it's Shota Imanaga that wants to lay that egg, of course.
Yeah, I'm trying to do the numbers for June. A losing record for the Cubs in June. I think over the course of the, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I believe they played 9 series in the month of June. It could be 10. Maybe I'm doing my math wrong. A series win against the White Sox. No surprise there. Lose 3 out of 4 to the Reds. Lose 2 out of 3 to the Rays. Lose 2 out of 3 to the Cardinals. Then you did take a series against the Giants 2-1. Lose a weekend series to the Mets, who I know we talked about them yesterday. How about the Mets all of a sudden playing some really good baseball?
Closing it on the Braves.
Lose 3 out of 4 to the Giants in San Francisco. Close out the month of June in Milwaukee, losing 2 out of 3 to the Brewers. Now I know that the Cardinals. I know that the Cubs were on the road quite a bit in the month of June. The 4-game series was in Cincinnati. There was the 3-game set in Tampa. They were in San Francisco. They were in Milwaukee. I know it's difficult to play away from your home stadium as much as they did in the month of June, but it was a really rough month for the Cubs. And a Cubs fan, Hannah, just checked in and said they barely won that 2-game series against the Sox. Listen, we talked about it.
We appreciate that.
we talked about it. They're struggling offensively, and their pitching's been pretty banged up. I know Ben Brown has missed a bunch of time. Losing Javier Assad was huge. He's been really, really good this year. You kind of had to throw Wisniewski into the starting rotation. Imanaga's been a rock for the most part, but I think the amount of injuries that they've suffered has been paramount to their lack of success, but the offense has not been very good either over the course of the month of June.